autumn at the Bluestone Villa. I'm very, very excited. I thought this was the perfect time to pick up the camera and kind of share my weekend with you, because yeah, I feel like it's really the official start of a new season this weekend. And I kind of have that vibe at the moment of, you know, when you were at school and you'd have like a whole, obviously big summer holiday off, and then you go back and you're kind of excited and energized, and you've got a new pencil case and a new lunchbox depending on your age, and God knows what else. And I kind of feel a little bit like that at the moment. I work from home full time, as you'll know, and prior to that I was in a job that I was really not very happy in, and I just feel like I got stuck in a rut back then, and I've never really kind of escaped it. James and I went on holiday for 2 weeks. We did a bit of a European road trip. We went to Italy and France, and we just got back last night. And about a week ago, so kind of halfway in, I said to James, like, I just feel so energized and motivated and excited for when I get home and I kind of get back into kind of normal life. And I guess I feel a little bit like somebody's turned a bit of a switch on in me. And I know that's such a cliche statement, but that kind of is how I feel a little bit. And first time I felt like this, and more like my pre-pandemic self probably, my pre-pandemic self. Yeah, it's probably the first time I felt like that. So I don't know, in a week I could feel totally differently, but I'm just feeling just in such good spirits. And originally we were going to come back today, and James was the one that was like, no, can we not? Can we come back on the Friday so that we've got the weekend just to kind of like recalibrate before we go back to work? And I thought he was a bit of a party pooper, but actually now I'm really, really glad that he suggested that. I was ready to come home yesterday as much as I was enjoying my trip, and also now I feel like I've got a whole weekend to kind of get, I guess, pursue this motivation that I have, and get ready for my new work week and what have you. So anyway, so this weekend I'm having a bit of a reset of a few things. So I did a whole list whilst I was away of every single room in this house, what needs to be done in there, whether that's something like organisation or whether that's some renovation stuff that we need to finish, and then what we need to buy for that room in order to complete it. And I think I'm gonna work a process of kind of starting like top downwards. So I'm not gonna do it all obviously this weekend, that is not possible. But it's something I've talked about doing for ages, writing this list, and I've not done it. And I just, halfway through the holiday, I was just like, I just had this list in my head, and I was like, I just need to get this down. And also because I feel like I need to, like, there's an element of needing to jumpstart a little bit with getting back on with doing things. I think that's also really lulled over like the last year or so, and I think that is connected also to kind of how I've just been feeling, full stop. And yeah, so I feel really energized to get on with that. And one of my biggest mistakes that I make is I try to take on too much too soon, and I get like really overwhelmed with like a really huge long list. So I really am gonna like break that down, and as I said, I'm gonna start from top and work my way down. There is stuff that needs to be sorted out downstairs, but all in all it is in a much better space than say the top floor. And just before we went away, James built me a desk up on the top floor, so I'm actually moved to working up on the top floor now. But the room I'm in is an absolute mess. It's still a bit of a dumping ground, and it just needs a bit of a sort out. So I'm going to try and do a little bit of that this weekend. I'm going to get some of my kind of like autumny bits out. I have always said that, like, so September I usually start to kind of shift some of my styling in my home like early September, because we were going on holiday. I didn't bother. So I want to do that this weekend. I don't do huge amounts. I keep it very like low key, very muted, just a few bits and pieces for September. October, probably not the beginning, just especially because I don't really feel like I've lulled myself into autumn yet, and we're already almost at the end of September. But at some point in October I will shift to more fun like Halloween decorations. I won't go into the big spiel about why, I've said it in a previous video, but basically in a nutshell, I've always loved kind of like New England like culture and like you know, American Halloween culture and stuff like that, you know, long before it really became a bit of a thing over here. So I do like to do that. I do like to have my fun Halloween decorations out for a week or two as well. First of all, I keep it very muted and it's very low key. And I've really only got a few bits and pieces. I've probably got a few candles that I'll switch out and stuff. But I bought a few really cool things from HomeSense before I went away as well. And I was kind of like debating whether to do like a bit of a haul video, but actually I'm just gonna incorporate it in all this. So I'll share with you what I've got from there as well. We've bought a few things whilst we've been away, and yeah, so a bit of a shift, like reshift and reorganize and reset of a few bits and pieces. And then there's like a few other bits and pieces I want to do. I've got some gardening I need to do, like I've got all my bulbs, my spring bulbs have turned up whilst I've been gone, so I want to get some of those in the ground. I've got our grapes are ready to harvest, and so I really want to make my grandmother's grape jelly recipe, so I'm hoping I have time to do that tomorrow. But yeah, just in general, I just feel in such an excitable mood. I'm really excited to be home. I'm really excited to kind of get on with things. I just feel, for me at the moment, like I'm starting a new season of my life, it feels like a little bit as well. And I know that's very dramatic, but that is kind of how I'm feeling about it. I bought a few bits actually. Maybe I'll show you. I bought a few bits of clothing again before we went away that were more on the kind of changing into this new season vibe a little bit. Again, because it's that thing of, I work from home, so it's really easy to slip in the habit of either not buying anything or just rushing and buying rubbish. And I just feel like my whole wardrobe needs a massive reshift. But I got a bunch of things from Zara because I had a Zara gift card to use, and I bought a couple of bits in Primark, which I haven't been in Primark for absolutely years, but I did shifty in there for some bits. So I'll show you my Primark bits first. So I got this just oversized, really soft flannel shirt, which I really loved. It was £10. And I got it in a large. They had different colours, and I would have preferred like a red or a green probably, but the green wasn't in the same material as this. This is a really soft, like almost blanket feeling material. It's really nice. I mean, it's probably a really cheap fabric, but what I mean is it feels really nice. Yeah, the green was not in the same material, and I didn't want, it was not as it wasn't an oversized shirt, it wasn't in the same material, and yeah, I just kind of didn't really feel like I loved it. And then the red was a really dull red, dull and pale is probably the best way to describe it. And I actually think that kind of the more kind of punchy red is kind of what suits my skin tone and my hair and what have you, so I didn't opt for that. But yeah, so I got this, and then I also got this jumper, which I really love. It's got the gold buttons on the one sleeve up here. It's a little bit of a polo neck, and it's black stripe. Really loved this. Loved it more when I tried it on back at home as well. Again, I got that in the large, and this was £17. Both of those things will just be so nice for just being at home, working at home, and just being able to like mooch about like locally as well. And then from Zara, I got this. I actually think it's a bit of a jacket more so than a shirt, but I'm planning to use it as both a jacket and a shirt. It's like a grey denim, and then it's got these jewels on it. And this I got in the extra large because I wanted it to be like loose. I didn't want it to feel tight, and this was $49.99. And then I got a brand new blazer, which I absolutely love. The material is maybe not my favourite, but it's a really fitted jacket. It's got similar buttons. No, it doesn't. It's got big buttons, similar I guess to the jumper from Primark, but these are different because they've got like a black insert as well. And this is really fitted. I really love this. And this I got in the extra large as well, and it was $59.99. Oh, have I got a cup of tea? Thanks. Ah, it's hot. It's hot. Yikes. Ay. So I was thinking actually one of the first things I want to do is I want to actually shift a few things out of my wardrobe that are kind of more summer clothing, because I think it is going to be a little bit warm today. Not today. I think it's going to be a little bit more warm this week, but not crazy warm. And yeah, I've never really done that before with this wardrobe because I've got so many rails in the room across the hall, which I'm not going to show you because it is a real dumping ground. I've got so many clothes across there, and I've just had all my clothes in here, and what happens is I've been maybe missing some of my clothes because I forget that I've put them somewhere else, and then I've just been using what's in my wardrobe. And so I don't want to get into that habit for autumn. Plus I've got all of these new bits and pieces, so I want to put them in the wardrobe. James has given me like none of this wardrobe. It's a bit of a mess. This is one of my to-do lists to organize properly, but I'm not going to do it today because, as I said, I'm going to work top down. But essentially, so you can see, so those are some bed sheets down there. We will have a home for them soon. But yeah, it's chock-a-block, but can we just acknowledge that this is all James's? Now, in his defense, he has like no racks now in the other room, but regardless, I still want to be able to use this wardrobe. So yes, I think I'm going to take out the few bits and pieces. There's not loads, but just a few bits and pieces I'm either not going to use or are particularly summery, and therefore I'm not going to use. Wow, maybe nothing is summery in here. But I basically want to put some of my new stuff in here. Forgive our appearance. I'm still obviously unpacking from holiday, but yeah, I want to be able to put these bits and pieces in the wardrobe, so I'm going to have a little bit of a shift around and see what I can get rid of. The reason why I want to do this as well is because one of the routines I really loved back before we bought this house is that when I lived with my sister, and also when James and I lived in the flat together, I would really make the effort to like figure out what I was going to wear for the week ahead, which I don't know, maybe some of you do that, maybe some of you don't. I think obviously whatever works for you is best, right? Not in a way like putting out a rail and like matching outfits or anything, like nothing fancy like that. Literally just simply working out like, oh, okay, well, I've got this on this day, so I think I'm going to want to wear this for this, or the weather's not looking great this week, so therefore let's maybe like wear these things or what have you. But because when we moved here, there was just so much focus on the weekends of like renovating and stuff. And ooh, my hair's just gone funny. Yeah, because there was so much focus on renovating, there was never really the time to do that. And then obviously then after that, I've just been at home ever since. And so I've massively got out of that habit, and I really hate it because I quite often, especially on like busy weeks or weekends, I can end up being in a situation where I suddenly don't have anything clean to wear, or I've not had the foresight to think about how I might be feeling. To say if it was like my time of the month or something like that, and I'm wanting to wear something that is like looser and more comfortable. Oh, guess what? I've already worn all those things and I've not actually worked out what. Yeah, I've already worn all those things, and so it's not possible. And then I'm stuck. And so I basically want to get out of that situation. It also, just for me, I am not the most organised person naturally. I am a little bit chaotic. I am a bit of a mess at home and what have you. And so I think for me personally, having that little bit of structure actually really helped, because whilst I am all those things, I do not thrive in those environments. These are Christmas bed sheets that need to find a home. we've built a cupboard upstairs and they're going to go in there, but we still have some work to do to it, like painting it and stuff. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to work out, is there anything here that I'm going to chuck or give away or what have you, because there's a few bits and pieces I bought in the last couple of years that I've not loved, and I've still worn them because, again, it's just been a means to an end because I work from home, so I don't often leave the house. I think I'm going to chuck this shirt. I quite like this shirt because it was quite flattering because it cinched in at the waist. But I seem to recall that I spilt something down it, yes, and I've washed it multiple times and it's not come out fully, and I just think it's looking a bit tatty, so I am actually going to get rid of that. I think there is no... I'm going to try and be as brutal as possible with this. So this is all stuff I need to sort out at some point this weekend. Things to go back in the car, and then also bits we bought from the holiday. But my first piece of autumn decor and update to share with you is obviously the hops around my door. You'll know if you've visited before that I always have hops around my door year round, but you will notice that these are slightly greener, and that is because at the end of August, beginning of September time, I always get a new set, basically. So these arrived just before we went away and we hung them. They will have now fully, like, dried, as it were. And then as the year goes on, they'll just yellow more and more. This was kind of a bit of an accident that I ended up doing this. Basically in 2020, I went and picked some hops at Castle Farm, Kent. Yeah, so I picked some hops and I didn't really know where I was going to put them. I had thought about putting them along our banister, and I think that would look really effective, but they very cleverly said to me that it would also probably make it really challenging coming downstairs. Once you knock them, like, they do really like shed. So yeah, I ended up deciding to put them around this door frame, and I just can't ever get rid of them. I think it provides so much interest. I really love the way it looks. It really adds something. I get a few questions now and again about, like, oh, what's the garland and what have you, and I feel like it's pretty unique to have a garland like this around your door all year round. I think lots of people think it's just for autumn or just for Christmas, but it can totally work for the rest of the year as well. You know, if you had an inglenook fireplace, you would have your hops up all year round. But yeah, so I keep them up all year round. They yellow as the year goes on. Like from December, I'll put like twinkly lights across these, and I'll leave those twinkly lights up till around end of February time, so even beyond Christmas, and then I'll take them down again, and we'll get lots of sheddings on the floor and what have you. But yeah, this to me always marks like the start of autumn, or like that start of autumn shift for me in the house, because I'll get a new set of these. So this year and last year I got these from Hooking's Hop, and I paid about £45, and that included delivery, which was really good, and which was really the prime reason why I didn't end up ordering them from Castle Farm, Kent, even though that's slightly closer to us, because I had to pay for delivery on top. But Hooking's Hops is also a Kentish hop farm as well. Hops, I mean, I'm sure there are other places that they have hops, but hops are a really Kentish thing. And I'm sorry if I'm boring you, because I possibly have said this to you on here before, but hops are such a Kentish thing. People from London, like people, you know, working class families from London would actually come to Kent in the Victorian era to hop pick in the summer, and it would be like their summer holiday in a way. My grandmother actually did that in the 1930s. And yeah, so it's a real Kentish tradition, and so that's why I quite like having them as well. I am going to just give my lounge a bit of a clean and tidy. It's actually not in too bad a state. It just needs a bit of a dust and a hoover and what have you. But I want to do that because I'm going to my parents and my sisters a bit later this afternoon because I had a new niece born right before I went on holiday, and because she ended up staying in hospital basically until I went on holiday, I didn't get to see her. So I'm gonna go and meet her, but I want to come back later and this room to be really nice and comfortable and lovely, and I want to have a small shifty around with some autumn bits and pieces in here, mostly because we are going to light our first fire of autumn, and actually our first fire since I think about March time. So I have definitely mentioned this, but I'm not sure I've actually shown this properly on here. So we have our fireplace restored, and you can't really see it actually, the light is pretty poor. Maybe if I move over here, that's better. It's still a little bit difficult to see with the sunlight, but basically this surround here is original to the house. It was here when we moved in. It looks so much newer because basically what we had happen was we had them take our whole fireplace out, and I won't go into too much detail because I do actually have some footage of us redoing this room. So again, this might be like the first time you're kind of seeing some of the changes in this room, I don't know, but yeah, basically we had this restored. It'd been on our list for a long time. We're in year 4 now of living in this house, so we're just so glad we were able to do it this year. We had a really ugly 60s tiled insert, so they'd ripped out the original cast iron insert, and they'd also had a raised brick hearth along the bottom there, bricking actually around the bottom of this marble. Awful, so ugly, it looked really rough, and ugh. If I remember, I will try and put a picture of what it used to look like here just so you can see as a comparison. But anyway, we got these great restorers in called Walled Antique Fireplaces. I hugely recommend them. Not only are they just a really lovely family business, really friendly, really knowledgeable, but they also, yeah, did an absolutely fantastic job. So we basically got them in, they ripped it all out. They took away the marble and cleaned it, which basically means that they need to kind of like sand it and polish it and all of that jazz. So it looks, some of the stains that were there before, like there's some that they'll never be able to get out, right? But some of the stuff is amazing, and I'll go into more detail and share like more on that in a more of like a renovation style video. But yeah, amazing job. And then they ripped out the ugly 60s insert situation and the hearth. And we've had a slate hearth put down instead. So it is still slightly raised because the original would have been just like flat on the ground, but it's not raised to the same extent, and the marble surround has been lifted on top of it, not being kind of buried by it. And then the insert is an original Georgian insert, so it's actually dates earlier than this house. Again, I won't go into too much detail as to why we didn't get one that's more kind of reminiscent of what we would have had here originally, which would have been a tiled insert, a bit like the tiled cast iron one that we have in the dining room. But I fell in love with this. James loved this, and it's just beautiful. I think it matches the room amazingly. There's some like detail on the cast iron one that we've picked out that we actually realized is on like other detail that we've put in the room, and so, or like similar anyway, and so that's really nice because all of a sudden it feels like it's got that connection with the room. And we had this fitted, they took it out early April, we had it all fitted back in just before the end of April. And we had genuinely planned on using it within the first few weeks after having it done. So you can't really use it for like the first week, or it was something like that anyway. And then it just became that situation where actually like the weather picked up and it felt then kind of stupid to have a fire. And so now we haven't, and so it's a real rite of passage today. But I'll flip you around just so you can kind of see a little bit more of the detail. I'll take you a bit closer up, but it's quite hard in this light, but you'll see later. But I just love it. Oh my God, I'm so happy. So yeah, so I'm really excited we'll get to light this for the first time this evening. I'm entering my acorn era for autumn. So the first thing I bought in HomeSense is this white ceramic acorn. I actually think this is a little bit White Company-esque maybe. This is $6.99, which I thought was really good value. I usually like to hold things up against my head so you can see the size. So against my head. It's a really big size, and I'm thinking I might put this somewhere in here. I feel like I really like rusticy, kind of more like stuff like this bell. But I think since we've done this living room, I feel like this would still work really nicely in here. Whereas when it was the blue, I really don't think it would have. So yes, I think I'm going to put this somewhere in here. But I've seen some other acorn bits and pieces that I think I might try and get to include in a few little places around the house. Sorry, the lighting might be changing quite a bit because I'm sat in my living room and it's really sunny in here in the afternoon, but there is a fair bit of cloud floating about as well. So yes, that was $6.99. I'm gonna move on to a couple of candles. Controversial or not, I don't know. I feel like I might be moving away from really enjoying the HomeSense candle experience. Don't come for me. I feel like I could find ones. So first of all, I only ever really buy them around autumn and Christmas time. I really love kind of more elegant candles where I can. Sometimes that comes with quite an expensive price attached to them, so don't buy loads of those. But I feel like autumn and winter specifically, I do kind of buy into that kind of like baked goods kind of scent. And that's really what I'm looking for when I go to HomeSense, is things that smell like something's cooking in the oven in a good way, because some of them are like disgusting or too sickly. Last 2 years, I would say I've smelt so many of the candles, and I'm definitely erring more on the side of more of them smell disgusting than they smell good. And this time I walked away with just 2 candles, and even one of them I'm a little bit like, do I like that as much as I think I might? I don't know. So the first one is this. This is a totally brand new candle for me. I've not purchased one before. It's Maple Pumpkin. It's from DW Home. I think it's the first time I've purchased this one anyway. I don't know whether they might have changed their packaging for this, but it's the first time I bought this. Now this is kind of cute, also kind of naff. It just, I think, probably depends where you put it, how you put it. I didn't really buy it for how it looks. I would happily probably actually take this bit off. I don't think it necessarily needs it. I probably will keep this on. It's not offensive, I don't mind. But yeah, if you were looking to kind of go even more understated, you know, you could take that off. Basically, I didn't buy it because it looks like this. This one is Maple Pumpkin. And actually, from a fresh perspective, I do think I like this. So it's meant to be sweet maple stirred with harvest pumpkin, spiced with cinnamon and nutmeg. And it does kind of smell like, for me, it smells like there's this gorgeous little trinkety even, like gift story place in a town in Stowe, Vermont called Stowe Mercantile. And when you walk in there, that to me is the smell of American stores, and that is kind of very much like maple, cinnamony scents. And this to me smells like I'm in Stowe Mercantile in Stowe, Vermont, and Stowe, Vermont is my favourite place aside from my home, so I'm gonna say that that is a win. And actually I do like it in hindsight. I think I smelled so many when I bought this in the end, I started to question like my own scent at that point. And then the other candle I bought is actually a repeat purchase. I've bought this at least once before. God, I'm just breaking my other things. I bought this in a massive size. I've probably shown you before, like huge size, and I had it in my kitchen. It's the Heritage Pumpkin scent, also from DW Home. It's warm and spiced and sweet. It's harvest pumpkin infused with brown sugar, gingered cinnamon, toasted clove, and sweet vanilla. This for me, it is different from the other one. This to me smells like cookies baking in the oven. And I love this. Oh, I forgot to say how much this other one was. This one was $8.99. And then this one is $3.99, which I think is pretty good, to be fair. Yeah, these were the only two I saw fit to purchase because I thought the rest of them were absolutely vile. My final bits that I got from HomeSense is, well, they're probably my favourite purchase from there. You'll absolutely see why in a second. These are the things that I think are very Anthropologie-esque. So basically, there is a certain thing that I've seen in Anthropologie before, actually around Christmas time, so it's like a Christmas thing rather than autumn thing. And these things reminded me of them. I'm just gonna stop chitter-chattering and just get them out. So first of all, I got 4 of these. So these are little mugs, little glass mugs, and they've got like this kind of almost like amber, kind of dark amber, kind of like stick element to it, and then the gorgeous little pumpkin. I thought these were just adorable. I think most of the time when you're buying kind of like autumn mugs, and there's this thing of like being really cozy and like picking up like big chunky ceramic pumpkins, and I do love all of that as well, but when I saw these, it was one of those moments where I was just like, James is gonna absolutely hate me because we have no space for any of this kind of stuff, especially if I buy 4 of them. But also I just didn't feel like I could walk away. I really, really did truly love them. You know, if I was to be really harsh on myself, I could say actually I could have left the 2 candles and the ceramic acorn, but these I would never have been able to leave. And these were $5.99 each. The only thing that I'm a little bit about with these is that there was no box or anything that came with them, so they were just out on the side. Now they are a mug, and typically in these kind of glass mug scenarios, I mean, I'm assuming it's glass anyway, it feels like it would. I'm not about to test whether it will break, but usually it would be that you can have hot drinks in them. But it didn't say that anywhere, and I asked when I went to pay for them. They said if it's not in a box, they don't know either. I went and looked on TK Maxx, which they did have either these or the other version I'm about to show you. And if they still have them online now, I will link them below. But it also didn't say there, so I wasn't able to know. I've tried kind of just Googling the description of them to see if I can find like the originals of them, to see if it says, but it doesn't. So essentially we're just going to be taking a bit of a risk. Other versions, the other versions are actually what I picked up initially, and is what I would say is the most Anthropologie-esque. Oh no, it's the same one again. Where are they? Ah, right. So this is actually what I picked up originally. And then I spied these and was like, I can't not get these as well. And these are what I would say reminds me of the Anthropologie thing the most, which are these glasses, which weirdly enough feel thicker and stronger than the mugs. So goodness knows. But they have the pumpkin in the middle. It's like a bit of glass, like it's an actual, like it's 3D. And this reminded me of, Anthropologie had one where it was like a Christmas tree in the middle, or I think they do some mugs like that as well. And anyway, I just thought these were absolutely gorgeous. These were also $5.99. These feel like these will be safer to have hot drinks in, but who knows? Maybe you can have hot drinks in both of them. I'm not really too sure. If you bought these, or if you've got these, or if you know where these come from, can you let me know please? Because I would really like to just know for certain without breaking them all. But I got 4 of these as well, but as I said, these will obviously only ever come out at this time of year. They're not going to sit in my cupboard for the rest of the year because we just don't have the space, and I need to really work out how I'm going to do all of that in general, because I have a box of a few bits like this, but that's full, so I need to think about how I shift all this around. I would never put these in my Halloween box to go up in the loft because I feel like these are a September onwards item. So I don't want to be just getting them down for like 2 weeks of the year. You know, I want to get my use out of them. I don't know if I showed you these. I've actually just realised I've got a massive cobweb on them, which is probably because when I brought them in, they had a spider on, like a garden spider on them. But these are actually my hydrangea annuals from out front, if you've seen in like my previous garden videos. And I brought these in. I cut some of them, not all of them, because I think it's good to leave a lot of the flower heads on to protect them from frosts over the winter. But I don't know if you can see that cobweb, that I need to get rid of that. But anyway, I put them in with just an inch of water, and these are now fully dry, which is great. So I always keep then dried hydrangeas, sometimes for like a whole year. I've got some actually in the other room that I bought a year ago. I will probably buy some more hydrangeas, maybe in some deeper tones. Like I quite like then like the deeper reds or the deeper greens or blues or what have you. So I might try and get some and dry those as well. The one thing I would say is that these were like really vibrant green, and I quite liked it actually when I cut them. And I read somewhere basically, because there's 2 ways you can dry hydrangeas. One, the way I did it, and one where you tie them together and you like hang them upside down somewhere cool and dry. And I just didn't really have the space to be doing that version, so I just did the inch of water. But interestingly, I did read someone say that when they've done it both ways, the way of hanging them upside down preserves the colour a lot better. And now I don't have a way to compare this right now, but since we have been away and now come back, actually yes, it is a very kind of it's a much more kind of muted color. It's more of a yellowy than a green, so the color really has changed quite a bit. I mean, they're still lovely and they work really nicely in here, but yeah, just really interesting to note, because when I left they were still quite vibrant green even though they were drying at that point. What do we think? So the hydrangeas is something that I would do for autumn as well. So as I said, I've already kind of like flicked those into here. Maybe I need to go away and just come back and look with a fresh pair of eyes. Just got home and we are going to light the fire. Fallen over and light the fire, although James has just alerted to me that we don't have any fire lighters, so it could be a bit of a hairy, scary moment. It's a big moment, and then I'm gonna get on with dinner because it's gone 7. Oh my goodness. Somebody's been enjoying some snacks, clearly. Oh, it's so exciting.
Texas and Hello Germany for our newborn genius tomorrow at 8 PM in brand new double building.
Do you need the light turned up a bit to do this?
Turn it up a little bit more. And you've not shut the thing, have you?
No, I've not touched it, so unless he has, because basically our new fireplace has a latch, which means that when it's not being used we can put the lid on it, but obviously that's a fire hazard if we forget. Morning. It's about 10 o'clock on Sunday. I filmed a little bit of our fire last night. Proof that not everything always goes to plan. We haven't had our log delivery yet, so we haven't had like our fire lighters delivered yet, and we realised we didn't have any. So it's quite a struggle to get it to light properly, and it's obviously the first time doing a fire for like 6 months or so, and also the first time in that new fireplace. So yeah, it worked a little bit and then it wasn't as good. It kind of started to go again. So yeah, we just we aborted mission, and we're just gonna have to wait until we get our delivery, which is coming on Tuesday. I'm just about to make James a cup of tea. He's outside washing the cars. Today I'm gonna be, well, first of all I need to pop out. So I need to go out and get some sausages. We're having a bit of an autumnal-y kind of meal today. I would usually do, like in a perfect world, I would do like a roast dinner today, like our first roast dinner. But I think I'm gonna move that to next weekend because I just didn't want to do anything too complex. That can usually mean that I'm cooking for a good few hours, and like I said, I kind of just want to get certain things sorted. I didn't want it to be doing some like big meal that takes ages to cook just as soon as we got back off holiday. So we're gonna have sausage, and I think I'm gonna do like a mustardy mash, and I'm gonna try and get some broccoli as well because I also forgot to order that. And I'm gonna do it with an onion gravy. So I'm gonna make that for dinner tonight, but I need to go out and go get some sausages. I also want to try and make my nan's grape jelly this afternoon if I can manage it. And I think I've not got any spare jars, so I might just need to go and buy a couple of like jars, possibly. But anyway, regardless, I need to go out and get the sausages. And then I need to sort out my office on the top floor, which is also our spare bedroom. It's a bit of a mess in there, so I'm not gonna, you know, transform it into anything beautiful, but I could do with giving it a bit of a spruce so that when I start work tomorrow morning, I'm much more comfortable. And I want to get out in the garden. I feel like I've written a list. This is what my problem. I have like huge like to-do lists that are kind of not realistic. They're over ambitious. Where is my tea? He's got a mug, but have we got, oh, he's gonna just have to have it in this mug. Usually when we do stuff outside, we have these like tin ones that I've got from a local store here. You can get them kind of in lots of places though, I think, but we get them from a store called Jeremy's Home Store here. And yeah, he usually has that, but I have a feeling that it might be in the wash. Oh well. So yeah, that is the plan for today. And then I also I've worked out what clothes I'm gonna wear this week. That's the first time I've done that in so long, and I need to iron all of those, and then also do kind of a bit of a nice bedtime routine to get me started for the week ahead. Right, I am taking you up to one of my rooms of shame, which is this room. This was the room that James and I used to live in for the first 2 to 3 years. Yeah, it gets abandoned, it gets a bit of a spruce up when somebody comes to stay. It's not been decorated. It's kind of next on the list in terms of actual room transformations. But just before we went away, James built me this desk in this space here because I'm just so sick of cluttering up my dining room table. And I work from home full time. James works from home, you know, a little bit as well. And he has his office across the hall there. But yeah, I just want to do a bit of a tidy up. I had intended to do this sooner. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set a timer for 20 minutes and just blitz as much as I can, just so it's a bit kind of fresher for when I return to work tomorrow.